Have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on right under your feet? We call it dirt or the ground. But those simple words, they hide this incredibly complex and honestly vital world. So, how about we grab a shovel, metaphorically, of course, and dig in?
When you look at a patch of ground, all you're really seeing is the cover of a book. But if you could just peel back that top layer, you would find a whole history written in the earth. So the real question is, what story is it telling?
Okay, first things first, let's get one thing straight. Soil is not just a pile of brown stuff. No way. It's actually a highly organized system, almost like a building with different floors. And if you want to understand how anything grows on this planet, you've got to understand its architecture first. To read that story, scientists dig what's called a soil profile. Now, I want you to think of it like cutting a giant slice of layer cake. Each of those layers, which we call a horizon, reveals a totally different chapter, telling us exactly how that soil was formed over thousands of years, by everything from the weather up top to the rock way down below. So, you ready to take a trip down through that slice of cake? We're about to meet the main characters of this story, the main layers or master horizons that make up a typical soil profile. And here we go. This diagram gives us the perfect cross-section. Just look at those distinct layers, the different colors, the different textures. This is going to be our map as we travel from the surface all the way down to solid bedrock. Right at the very, very top, we have the O horizon. The O is easy to remember. It stands for organic. This is that layer of fresh and rotting leaves, little twigs, all that good stuff. You won't find it everywhere, not in a plowed field, but in a forest, it's that rich, living carpet that basically feeds the whole ecosystem. Now, just below that organic layer is the A horizon, which is what most of us just call topsoil. See how dark it is? That's because it's packed with something called humus. That's the super decomposed, nutrient-rich organic stuff. This right here is the VIP lounge for plant roots, earthworms, you name it. It's the absolute powerhouse of the soil. Dropping down a level, we get to the B horizon, or the subsoil. Think of this as the collection zone. As water trickles down from the layers above, it carries these tiny particles of clay and minerals with it. And where do they end up? They get deposited right here, which is why this layer is often a lot denser and usually lighter in color than the topsoil.
We're getting deeper now, and we've reached the C horizon. This is the parent material, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically weathered and broken up chunks of the bedrock below. The soil-making process has technically started here, but let's be honest, it's still way more rock than it is soil. You can totally see the family resemblance to the rock it came from.
And finally, we hit rock bottom. Literally, this is the R horizon. R for rock. This is the solid, unweathered bedrock that is the ultimate source, the true parent of all the mineral layers we just traveled through. Our journey downwards is complete. Okay, so we've seen the big picture, right? The layers, but what are those layers actually made of? Let's zoom way in and look at the three tiny particles that are the fundamental building blocks for all soil. So, every single soil is just a mix of three types of particles: sand, silt, and clay. And this chart shows just how different they behave. Take a look at sand over on the left. It lets air and water move through it really well, but it's terrible at holding on to nutrients. Now jump over to clay on the right. It's the complete opposite. It holds onto water and nutrients like a sponge, which means drainage is super slow and there's not much room for air. And silt, well, as you can see, it falls somewhere right in the middle. So that specific recipe of sand, silt, and clay is what gives a soil its texture. And this triangle you're looking at, it's the cheat sheet scientists use to classify it. By plotting the percentage of each particle, you can find out exactly what kind of soil you're dealing with, from sandy loam to a silty clay. And that sweet spot right in the middle, that's loam, the perfectly balanced soil that every gardener and farmer dreams of. But listen, it's not just about the ingredients. It's about how they're put together. And that's called soil structure. It's all about the way those sand, silt, and clay particles clump together into little clusters. And here's why that matters so much. That structure is what creates the empty spaces, the pores, that let water, air, and plant roots move around. Without those pores, you've got no life. It's that simple. And that structure can look a whole bunch of different ways. On the left, you've got these diagrams of different types, like columns or blocky chunks. But now, look to the right. You can actually see some of those vertical, blocky structures in a real soil profile. A good, crumbly, granular structure is what plants love, but a solid, massive one, that can stop roots dead in their tracks.
All right, we've talked layers, we've talked texture, and we've talked structure. Now let's put all that knowledge together and learn how to read the soil's secrets, starting with the easiest clue of all, its color. Believe it or not, just by looking at the color of soil, you can learn a ton about its health and its history. So what secrets is that color really spilling? Well, if you see a dark, rich, almost black color, that's a great sign. It means lots of organic matter, which means fertile, healthy soil. See some bright reds, yellows, or oranges? That tells you there's plenty of iron and, more importantly, plenty of oxygen, which means good drainage. But if you see patches of gray, blue, or green, that's a red flag. It's a sign that the soil has been waterlogged for a long time and it's starving for oxygen. So when you look at an image like this now, you're not just seeing layers of dirt anymore, are you? You're seeing a living, breathing system, a dynamic world that holds water, cycles nutrients, and provides the literal foundation for pretty much all life on land. It all starts right here, in the soil profile. So the next time you're outside, just take a second and look down. Remember that it's not just dirt, it's a living storybook of geology, biology, and climate, written over thousands and thousands of years. What story is the soil in your neighborhood trying to tell you?